Before we begin today's podcast, I wanted to answer the most emailed question that pops up in my inbox. Neil, how do you earn your living outside of this daily tech podcast? Well, seeing as you ask, if you're starting 2021 and have a long list of goals for the new year, but a lack of time to bring them to life, remember, you can work one-to-one with me in a number of areas. For example, if you want to hit record on a conversation in Zoom or Microsoft Teams, I can edit those files and help you launch your own podcast and help you have a show like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and all the usual platforms. Equally, if your leadership team needs help with ghostwritten thought leadership articles, or you need someone to manage the content for your business blogs, pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, where you'll find more information on how you can work with me. And you'll also find links to 1,500 interviews on the Tech Talks Daily podcast, plus my shows with Netgear and Citrix. But enough from me, on with today's show.
Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now we are racing to 1,500 episodes together. Can you believe that? And we have covered most topics on this show, but today I want to learn more about real-time location systems, RTLS, and those that are pioneering the use of applications in the manufacturing and engineering industries and helping to get Industry 4.0 back on track. And in these times of the coronavirus, yes, I mentioned the C word, I apologise, RTLS is enabling maximum efficiency asset management already, and now tracking has become even more significant amidst the pandemic. Sorry, mentioned the P word. But tracking tags, for example, can be used to ensure social distancing measures are being adhered to and hygiene compliance standards are maintained. And contact tracing of both human to human and human to object are critical too. And this technology is allowing for optimal accuracy and traceability, but that is just a small part of what this technology can do. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Finland so we can speak with Fabio Belloni, COO and co-founder of Quuppa, where we'll explore this topic much deeper and hopefully learn a thing or two together along the way. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
So my name is Fabio Belloni. I'm Chief Customer Officer and co-founder at Quuppa. Quuppa is a Finnish company headquartered in the capital area of Helsinki. We are a spin-off of Nokia, been on the market now for 8 years. And we actually are very global already. We have offices in North America, Dubai, Australia, China, and we serve a pool of more than 500 customers across 55 countries, currently having more than 2,500 deployments active. And deployments for us, it means sites where Quuppa is providing location technologies. So we are a technology vendor, technology provider, and we offer to our customers scalable, reliable, and accurate indoor locations.
And like you said, Quuppa is a leading provider of real-time location systems. But to set the scene and for people that are learning about you and RTLS for the very first time, can I ask that you set the scene and tell the listeners a little bit more about exactly what it is and the kind of problems that you're solving with this technology?
Absolutely. So if you think about today's world, there is already devices that are connected. So there is a possibility to gather data from devices that are scanning the environment, whether you are in retail, whether you are in an enterprise, logistics, or healthcare. All of these devices, though, they don't always know their position. And they cannot retrieve their position by using the conventional methods like GPS because, well, GPS actually doesn't work indoor. It's just a technology for the outdoor. But since most of the time is spent by people indoor, there are research done that 70 to 80% of the time is spent in area where there is no GPS reception. Then Quuppa has been working on bridging this gap and creating a technology that would allow devices to gather their location information in area where GPS cannot reach. And if you think, Neil, about merging the data content with the location information, that's really when the data itself gather richness. Because knowing what is happening somewhere, but also knowing where this is happening, it's of extreme value for the decision makers, no matter which vertical industry you are. Think about gathering an alarm, but not knowing where this alarm is happening. And as the devices that are sensing the environment are not static, but oftentimes in the different industry, they are mobile devices, you can't assume to know the location. Ergo, being able to track devices and report this information together with the data content is an important asset. From our side, Quuppa has been working in this area for now more than 8 years. And myself and the other founders of the company, we have been looking at indoor location way before it was a kind of popular topic. So myself, I started in the early 2000s as part of my PhD thesis to look at positioning devices. And before spanning out of Nokia, we were the team in Nokia looking at local connectivity and indoor positioning. So our task was to try to use any radio or sensors or means for positioning a mobile phone in area where GPS could not reach.
There is obviously over the last 12 months, technology has continued to transform multiple industries. And a lot of people think that COVID has accelerated that even faster. But a couple of the buzzwords that I've seen in particular are Industry 4.0, Industrial Revolution. And when I was researching that and trying to find out the people that are using this technology to transform those industries, that's where I came across you guys and why I invited you on the podcast today. But for everyone listening, what role do you play in helping manufacturing and engineering industries getting Industry 4.0 back on track?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you think about the four industry revolutions, I mean, the first one is definitely the adoption of the steam. The second one, they said that it was electricity. The third one was the IoT, or the computer, the internet era. And the fourth one is the IoT, or the era of digitalization. So what industry seek at the moment is to be able to build what we call the digital twin, which would allow to process and analyze everything that is happening on the manufacturing floor, from replenishment to workflow optimization, to ensure that all the processes within the industry itself, they would go as smooth as possible. And a technology like Quuppa, which provides, for instance, RTLS, which stands for real-time location systems, and can be used for asset tracking in a factory, helps to make this digital twin become alive. Because suddenly it's not just about building a digital image of the space, but any components within this physical world could be digitalized. And as it moves in the physical world, it can move in the digital space. And the movement can be associated not just in relationship to the environment, so to know which hole you are in front of which machine you are, or which part of the production line the goods or the track assets is, but also you can put it in relationship with other people or objects within the facility itself. And the era that we are living now with the pandemic outbreak and the COVID has brought new use cases into the list of needs that the industry have, because they need to protect workers. They need to ensure that people don't get exposed to working too close to each other, respecting social distancing. And in case in which someone is, for instance, found to be positive, then they need to very effectively know where this person has been in contact with whom has been, and be able to very rapidly isolate and notify everyone that has been exposed without having to shut down the entire production line. So it's a thin balance between being able to monitor and provide the safety for the work, and at the same time trying to keep the whole production line as smooth as possible, from the logistic to the frontline manufacturing.
And just to bring to life a lot of what you're talking there, do you have any use cases that will just help listeners almost visualize the kind of work that you're doing and how it might work in their world?
Of course, yeah. So some of our customers are, for instance, a steel coil manufacturer. There is a company in North America that is called Klockner that utilizes our platform for tracking their coil. So if you go into their factory, which is some tens of thousands of square meters, you will find objects that to the human eye, they look exactly the same. They typically have about 4,000 to 5,000 of these assets on the floor every single day, but each coil is different from the other. Material, length, the width, and what they want to do is to effectively smoothen the whole manufacturing line to when they cut the coil to when they put it on the truck for shipment, and make sure that they are not losing or forgetting some of this coil within the factory. Just to give you an example, before utilizing an RTLS system, before utilizing Quuppa, it took them roughly 30 minutes to be able to gather the information of where a certain coil is, and therefore get it loaded on the truck. Now, by having this digital twin and having the information of where each of the assets are, it takes them less than 5 minutes. So now, if you think about the time saving, this has actually brought them a productivity increase of roughly 30%. They were able to cut down the shift for some extra time when they have a lot of load, from 10 hours to 8 hours. And effectively, everyone from the people working on the floor to the management is happy of having the entire factory floor moving and in productivity very rapidly. Other industry we serve are automotive, where cars might look the same, again, to the human eyes, beside the color of the car. But even if you ask to someone, can you go in the parking lot, or can you go in this part of the facility and pick the white car? There are a lot of white cars that they look alike, but they are very different, especially because of the customization that nowadays is put into every single manufacturer. So what we do is to provide them the information of where things are at every given time, and that plays a big role in really boosting the productivity. Another example is, for instance, tracking tools. We work with companies that in the manufacturing line, they have very specific drills and the screwdrivers that are used for assembly products. And again, to the human eyes, they look pretty much the same, but they are one different from the next. And we need to make sure that the person that is on the floor is picking up the right tool for the right job. And in case the tool is in place, they need to be very rapidly retrieve that tool and bring it back to the position, to the manufacturing line. Otherwise, the whole manufacturing chain stops. And that brings a lot of burden to them.
I think something else that every business leader or decision maker is looking for at the moment is, now more than ever, of course, is return on investment from any project or any partnership with a tech company. So for those people listening, what kind of value do you help businesses unlock with your unique data-driven approach? Because it feels like there's almost this treasure trove of information hiding in that data. And we're now making data-driven decisions, aren't we? And it seems to be that's what you're helping with. But can you expand on that?
Sure. It's actually a very good question, because the return of investment and understanding, what's the tangible benefit from any investment that the industry is making, it's absolutely crucial. So from Quuppa side, we offer them the possibility to tackle many use cases by leveraging on a single infrastructure deployment, meaning that you can use one technology for being able to getting lights into use cases like workflow productivity, inventory management, because also there, think about someone that needs to walk the floor every quarter just to collect the information of the assets that the company is owning at every given time, or be able to do that with a single click on the button, and boom, the whole factory comes alive, and you know where and how many assets you have. Be able to do safety and collision avoidance, predicting maintenance for forklift. So the idea is that the return of investment, it's better met as you adopt a technology that can horizontally solve not one specific use case, but many use cases all at the same time. And that's one of the strong value proposition that Quuppa offers. And on top of that, we also have an open ecosystem of partner companies that takes our data, and they build upon effectively the service and application and digitalization of your environment with services that are targeted to the different vertical. So when adopting a technology like Quuppa, effectively you're not locked into a single vendor solution, but you get access to a portfolio of company that could offer complementary services, and then it's up to the end customer to choose and pick which one works the best. We definitely don't want to lock them into a cage and force them to buy from a single vendor. So this kind of openness, this kind of horizontality in the way in which the different use cases are tackling, and on top of that, be able to use a technology that is complementary to a real global standard like Bluetooth. So Quuppa technology is proprietary technology which is complementary to Bluetooth, which means that we have already a very large base on the interoperability across many of the devices that are already on the market. And all of this helps to meet the better cost point when you do your investment, which of course all leverage into a better return of investment at the end of the day.
And do you think that we're only just beginning to realise the value and importance and the power of location service technology? Because I suspect this year could have been a year where a lot of people are just waking up to that.
I think you are absolutely right on that. So we have been in this business of location technology for, well, myself for more than 15 years, and as Quuppa for more than 8. And we have seen the market growing and growing in terms of education and understanding how the location technology could be beneficial for that particular market, that particular customer. Like always happens, there are some companies that tend to be more tech savvy or innovation oriented, that they are not scared to embrace new technology, try out new ideas. There are other industries that are more conservative and they tend to be more like following what the mainstream is. But I think that now we are approaching a pivoting point, also thanks to the global situation with the pandemic, where the knowledge of information has grown within the common knowledge as a very important knowledgeable point, a very important data point, that if combined with the data content itself, it could really provide the information that is needed to run whatever business in the more effective way. And not just from a pure kind of revenue perspective, but also for safety of the workers that are as always the most valuable assets in every company. So we see the market getting more and more educated, and for instance, in the past it was quite unusual that a location company like ours would get, interviewed or getting air visibility into explaining what location is for the indoor. But we really welcome the opportunity to talk more about location, because this is really a great opportunity for everybody. It's been in front of our eyes already before. I think that everyone for like 20 or 30 years realized the value of GPS, but taking that kind of location-based service experience that everyone is already acquainted to when using GPS outdoor to the indoor, that's where there is a massive benefits that is beyond just the consumer market, but would really benefit a lot of the enterprises.
And are there any trends in the kind of conversations that you're having with your customers? I'm curious, especially because their needs, the needs of every customer has evolved over the last year. And I'm wondering if those conversations that you're having have changed from this time last year.
They have, and we have noticed that people that are, or company organizations that are approaching us, they are not just so to say kicking the tires, so coming to us and kind of poking us and asking the very generic question of what can location technology do for me, but they actually come with a very specific idea in mind. They come by saying, I have this problem, how can your technology help me to tackle this issue? So we see people and company having already done homework within their organization to try to identify the needs, and we are thrilled about the opportunity to talk to them, to show to them what technology can do within their space, and we have started to gather more and more case studies and reference cases also from our deployments, existing commercial deployments, and we hope that all of this will help further educate the market and enlighten our potential future customer to understand the value of location within their premises.
We've both survived 2020, but now we have 2021 to look forward to, a new year of opportunity. So what's next for you guys? Is there anything else that you can share?
Yeah, we are actually doing a ton of investment as Quuppa into the new generation of location technologies. So we are looking at expanding our offering beyond the asset tracking, but really getting closer and closer to the mobile industry, the consumer world. What in general it's called IPS, indoor positioning system. So if you think about technologies that would really work directly on your mobile phone, that's ultimately where Quuppa is moving and the whole industry moving. Like often happen, technology first lands in the hand of enterprises and then little by little finds their way to the consumer market. So we actually recently closed a very large investment for Quuppa. It was our A round. We have been for 8 years a company growth under our own organic revenue. So we have been investing every year into growing this business, and we got profitable right from the beginning. We were lucky in that respect, but still, when you grow organically, there is always a certain pace that you can keep. But we recently closed a 20 million euros investment, and we are really putting now the pedal to the metal and really getting into some strategic initiatives that are linked to standardization and are linked to really unleashing some of these larger opportunity across even markets that are more reluctant to adopt new technology, but that we see to be of great value for Quuppa and for the industry itself for the future. So I would say that Quuppa is not going anywhere in 2021. To the opposite, we are actually we have a massive, quite large hiring campaign ongoing. My team alone, I have 5 open positions that I will fill in between now and the next 12 months, and and other teams in Quuppa are doing similarly. So we see that as the market is awakening to the opportunity of use location technology to boost their business, company like Quuppa will become more effective into showing and proposing the value proposition to such customers.
Excellent. And one of the things I'm trying to do on this podcast at the moment is eradicate the doom and gloom of 2020 and look to a more positive future. So with that in mind, what is it that makes you optimistic about the year ahead? And are there any particular tech trends that excite you?
I think that there are many things that the 2020 has forced us to look from a different angles. I mean, myself, I used to be on a plane at least twice per month, visiting customers, talking to people, and driving project on a face-to-face way. While now the 2021. I see in 2021 that the people will go back into traveling, will go back to have more face-to-face meeting. But also, I think that we have all realized that there is also an effective way to conduct business by using more of the digital technologies, whether those are video calls or whether are remote working or through effectively the digitalization of the environment, and be able to intervene within the environment from remote without having to be necessarily on site. Clearly, in order to do that, you need this concept of digital twin, digitalization, and everything that brings this kind of mirroring of the physical world and the digital world. All this technology comes in the form of virtual reality, augmented reality, video tracking. I've seen a lot of different trend technology that are surfacing from all around, and surprisingly enough, I mean, all of these technology are great complementary to location technologies. Because even in the case of virtual reality or augmented reality, there is a big deal of benefits that you have if you know where you are, if you know where you're looking, when you create this kind of digital on top of the physical world. So I'm looking very positively into the 2021, and I think that we still need to have a little bit of patience to allow the vaccine to come into the market. But I think that the whole world is gonna gradually open up, and we will go back to whatever is the new normality in the future. But yeah, I'm positive.
Well, a huge thank you for coming on the podcast today. And for anyone listening that would like to delve a little bit deeper into what you're doing and keep up to speed with the latest developments, what's the best way of finding you online and also contacting your team if anyone's got any additional questions?
Absolutely. So we have you can find us on our webpage, www.quuppa.com. There is a contact form in there. You can post any question you have. We review those daily, and then we will put you in contact with our local representative or with either a technical or commercial person, depending on the request you have. Please don't hesitate to reach out, and we will be more than happy to answer your questions.
Well, I've loved chatting with you today. I, for one, have learned a lot about real-time location systems and the great work that you're doing there, and especially with those indoor positioning systems too that do enable that unmatched accuracy, safety, and reliability. It's incredibly intriguing technology, and I'd love to see where this leads to. But more than anything, just a big thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you very much, Neil. Thank you for having me.
So the next time somebody asks you about real-time location systems, or you hear somebody talking about it, or the acronym RTLS, you should now know what it is, how it works, and have more than enough information to ask the right questions too. But one of the big reasons that I record this podcast every day as we race towards 1,500 interviews is it helps me learn something new every day. And a big thank you to each and every one of you for also being armed with a curious mind and joining me on that journey too. But as always, if you have any comments, questions, insights, whatever it might be, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me or get me on LinkedIn, just look for @NeilCHughes. But hopefully you will join me again tomorrow where I've got another guest ready, and hopefully we will all learn something. And we'll continue to learn something every day throughout 2021. So a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.